They are chopping around. Get this music going. Having a lot of trouble selling off from this 4-hour zone. Kind of watching to see what goes on in the 5. This is very unclear. Just getting the links and everything out for everybody before I grabbed that short. I'm looking for at least the 9 a.m. lows. But we're having a hell of a time. Are they really going to close this 5 minutes strong? We're inside of our 4-hour zone. I do want this failure. That was a nice drop down. Still left this low, which means we might have to go higher. Or that could have just wicked everybody out. We see kind of on the lower time frame. Not exactly selling off the way we want so far. Like everybody stops at the high, which is about to get taken, mine included. There goes right to the midpoint of my area of interest. And we'll see if they squeeze everybody out or what's going to go on. Gross behavior. Gross behavior. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah. Saw that, saw this, okay, cool. And then was expecting more failure in here. So got first loss of the week out of the way. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Very unclear. I did I did like the daily for higher. I did think we were going to trade back down into sort of this consolidation area here. I thought that was supported by the 15-minute consolidation, which hadn't gotten tapped into. Which is still possible. Still possible if we end up failing up in here and then trading lower. We don't have any red folder until Wednesday, Thursday. So was looking to fade some violent PA out of this, but instead it looks like we've got we got a little bit of waiting to do. So we'll see if this ends up failing up in here or not. The 4-hour area of interest. Right, we still got about 23 minutes for that to deal with. But my guess would be if we can close 10 a.m. up here and then trade back into it and then leave, that will be a valid long opportunity. Yeah, we definitely have like this area which kind of got blasted through. We did respect it here, and then that obviously just dropped from Friday. So people will be looking at. Give me my microphone over here. People will be looking at something like this. Cool, right? But again, I'm waiting to see what ends up happening here. I'm not expecting a ton of violence today. It'd be shocking to me if we just blasted on Monday and continued without red folder coming in at the end of the week. And we're already seeing that initial drop back in, just ran everybody out violently. So I'm a little cautious of longing inside of this 4-hour zone. Obviously a strong 5-minute candle, but we'll see. Again, the idea is that the 4-hour, if it can close in 19 minutes outside of this, and we get some sort of weakness, then I think we attack this high. I think people are trying to figure out what exactly the 10 a.m. candle is going to look like, and we've got a lot to clean up lower. So kind of want to let this shake out a little bit more than what it's doing. That was a violent sell-off on that 5-minute, which I kind of look at in terms of these higher time frame areas of interest. We still got this 9 a.m. low. Man, oh man. Yeah, I'm going to sit and let this shake out a little bit. I think that was a valid long. I'm just concerned about going long inside of a 4-hour zone. Right? Closing above it, and I think we attack the highs again. Closing inside of it, very, very unclear. We might actually travel down for this low. But, again, Firefly, right? Where's our CSD? It's all the way down here. Do we flip? Nope. Yes, very much. Very much. We flip bullish. You could argue we flip bullish here on the 5-minute. Consolidate, consolidate, consolidate. Nothing really. Everybody's trying to figure out what that 10 a.m. candle is going to do. I think that's a much better way of looking at it as well. Expectations the high goes. Not exactly anything that I would have really liked to get a hold of, right? I would have liked some sort of flip down here. This was a retracement by nature into our area of interest. Cool, right? We can understand it, but nothing really that enabled me to get involved. If this had swept this candle and failed, then I could justify something in here, right? But nothing really that I liked. So just kind of watching and waiting. How's everybody's weekend? Yeah, for sure. If we're looking for aggressive trades, I wasn't looking for an aggressive trade because we're inside of an area. If my 4-hour zone was, say, here and I got something like that, right? Even this didn't take this objective here. Otherwise, I would have been very interested in longing off of liquidity. Just not a lot is set up for me to be able to hit this morning. I was actually short off of that, and then that got stopped. So this 5 looks obviously very, very ominous with how it closed. At the time of shorting it, had a large wick and was sort of chopping around in here. Still haven't ran the high out. Here we go. Get all this stuff off. Yeah, very, very, very much. I thought that, we are inside this consolidation. At the very least, we should have taken this, and then we've got London and Asia below. You see that Asia actually engulfed London, so there's a very, very high chance you're going to take one of these highs, which already hit pre-market with leaving a weak 9 a.m. candle, which I still think is possible that it gets hit. But again, we've got 14 minutes left. This is our first 5-minute area of interest from this move, right? From about 45 to 57. So technically it's achieved an objective here and should retrace back in, but That actually already happened. Well, actually, that's not true. That happened here, and we haven't come back down into this yet. So I do expect us to trade back into 20s. Whether that gets swept first and then comes back in, who knows? And it very well could stab through, and then the actual target, if it disrespects this area of interest, would be underneath the 9 a.m. low, which would also give us the hourly as well. Your 15-minute obviously is not. Actually, let's get rid of that 5. Don't need the 5 anymore, I don't think. 15-minute, very, very strong. Waiting to see if this gets swept out or not. Looks like we're going to trade into our 20s now. 21 to be exact, right? By 1 tick. But again, kind of looking at this from a bearish lens, despite the drive in the morning. Not really anything that I really, really like in here. Lots of selling, yeah, but nothing got taken. Whether ES did or not, we have SMT, who knows. More Astrophile. Good morning, everybody else as well, by the way. I don't know if I said individually or not, but would love a short. I have a hard time shorting against such strong 15-minute PA, but again, the early morning. Early morning is where this could just drop. We're trying to determine what's going on here. We're just having a hell of a time selling off, so I do think we got a little bit higher to go, personally. But we'll see. 950 coming in hot. I'm short now from 49.25. I want this to drop. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Very nasty. If it's going to drop, it's going to drop from here. Otherwise, I think we're going much, much higher. Wow. Okay, well, that took me out break even. That actually didn't even take me out break even. I had my stop at break even, and that just blasted through, at least on Trade of 8, and executed me at 57. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a tough one. Gonna sit on my hands here again. We're waiting to see this 4-hour area of interest, if it's going to close inside or not. I like that a lot. I thought that was very, very valid. This was nice. I didn't, I would have obviously rather that closed bearish, but beggars can't be choosers. That did fail there. Cool, but given the context of the 5-minute potentially sweeping, and then away we go. Right, like I thought that was pretty valid, and then just blasted my face off. Here we are. Yeah, that stop was disgusting. That stop was disgusting, and here we are here again. Right, so we still have all this above. Cool, but we'll see what goes on here. I think this 4-hour wants to close above that extension, which was the main concern for shorting in the first place. I did take a couple of attempts in there, and nothing really wanted to go, so we'll see. Right, our 15 and our hourly are both just on a rocket ship. And 902 and 893 now. Assuming that wants to close, we get a tap back in, but we need this to close up here in about 4 minutes. So probably gonna sit on my hands until then. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that was not kind to me either. The fact that I was break even and it could not care less. So just sitting on my hands and waiting. We might get something at the turn of the hour which trades back into this. Or we just continue on our merry way. A lot of scaling in, which is nice. Right? One attempt. You could argue that's sideways, not really a second attempt. Our second 5-minute area is at 900 itself, so I think we do head towards there. The question is, do we get a violent pullback or do we just continue on? Two minutes to go. Ooh. There's no way, is there, that they actually close it inside of this in the last minute? That would be insane. Yeah, this is not conducive. There's 10 a.m. Okay, so we see what we're gonna have now. There's our 4-hour candle. Right back to our area of interest. Cool. Now what do we got? It's a new 4-hour open. Here's your 5. It would need to really get going if it was going to create something violent without taking that high. Didn't quite hit anything super high in terms of targets. So kind of waiting to see what goes on here now that we're finally back inside of our zone. Really good thrust in the 5. We might get it to trade back up to the 60s. We'll see. Right, we did get a 1 minute flip, fair enough. Trading back down into our area of interest. Again, the only reason I'm looking bullish is because we've actually closed outside of our 4-hour zone. So I'm not really looking at this 5 minute as having tons of significance, this sell-off. We'll figure out what goes on here. Trading back into the breaker on the lower time frame. All right, so ideally we displace above this, otherwise we're going to be in for a rough ride. I'm stopped to break even on the flip back. Lift. Otherwise, it's just going to trade into the imbalance, and this is where people are looking to short from. And you can understand it as well, right? So we flipped, then the flip back up into your sort of area of interest here. Although you'd probably argue it's more like this imbalance, I suppose, if we're being tricky about it. Go, 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 go. A lot of difficulty here, lots of selling. I'm not really wild about this candle. So the only real avenue the bears have, if people are looking to short this flip to ride it back down for the 9 a.m. low, etc., is that we then flip back and close underneath this. And then that would be like a major major benefit to them. It'd be interesting to see if that flat bottom does go. But this looks very, very sus to me so far. Right? And again, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the 4 hour that's closed above here at 10 a.m. Not wanting to get in front of that. So still holding this. Inside of the area that sent us down in the first place, but again, more looking at running the highs explosively. My stop's in profit at 54. If it doesn't want to run. If this candle sweeps and fails, then I'll probably put it underneath this at 56, but I don't want to be too picky. It very well could just grind this out to the highs. If it wants to take the highs, that is. And there goes my stop and profit. Okay. 8 seconds left on this candle. Do they flip or do we fail? That looks like it actually did flip. Okay. So danger. Danger, but again, not really a fan of that. Let's see if it's got some legs to the short side. Not super clear, but so getting conflicting signals. All right, everything's pointing up on our higher time frames. Our 10 a.m. closed up. Even that one closed above up here. So there's your 4 hour right now. And pretty much everything's still pointing up, other than your lower time frame, which just flipped. So whether that wants to trade back down to here, or we don't really have a 5-minute low other than this one at 46. Which is this candle there, I believe. Sorry, nope, it's that one. Yeah. Yeah, me too. There goes your 5-minute low. So that 1-minute flip delivering to it. Beautiful. Not a lot I like out of this at all. Can completely understand if people are really looking short. I just have a really hard time shorting against this type of PA. And trying to figure out if this 10 a.m. manipulated, now what? Back to equilibrium, maybe? Still fighting with this 5-minute low. Trying to determine if we're going to go underneath this one at 26 or not. You got a new 15-minute candle that's about to open. Not really bouncing violently off of this this 5 so far, but also not dropping like a rock yet. I think if it's going to drop, it's going to drop right now. Just very, very, very unclear PA. Right? Flip, beautiful, setting us back down. Concern now that the 5 closed here. You got a new 15-minute that's open, it's bearish. We don't have a 5-minute flip, that will be all the way down here. So going to sit on my hands. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Looking at this for sure. Anybody that did short in here with the stop above is actually getting paid quite nicely so far. You've got a flat bottom here as well, 31.25. And it bears in mind as well that if we do want to let go, we actually have a weak candle down here at 9 a.m. I just don't like how the 4-hour closed above here, which I might be putting a little bit too much weight on it, but to me, I'm trying to determine if this was going to be a higher time frame manipulation. It should have stabbed in and left, which was what I tried positioning myself for initially. Right, this is now trying to have a 6th bearish candle in a row. And there goes that next tap of that 5. Now what? Again, trying to determine if this is manipulation underneath this 5-minute or not. People want to see it close under here in about 1:16, which means that in reality, this would have to trade all the way up here to CSD. So I'm thinking that we might actually get it. And you're looking for just a puke if you're short. $55 seconds. No trades for me. I considered taking that short there, but it was against the 4-hour, in my opinion, so I didn't take it. Obviously, that it's paying very, very well right now, but there'll be other trades. Now in the middle of our 4-hour zone. Still no bullish candles. Man. Many attempts, nothing doing so far. If there's going to be one form, it should be formed at least around the midpoint of this zone to stab back up into the 5. You're 15, fiddling with this 15-minute low as well. This weak candle's liquidity. A target for many, I think. Trying to respect the 4-hour area of interest. We'll see if we get a little bit of a lift. But no reason to be long here from candlestick theory or price action or whatnot. It's having a little bit of profit taking, which is understandable. My goodness. They've ran everybody out now. Now do they have any sort of follow through? Or does it just continue its descent? Are you? Beautiful, Dennis. Beautiful, bro. $15-minute low. No flip in sight. We'd have to trade all the way up here. So whether V bottoms and we actually do trade to the other end of this 4-hour zone at 36, who knows? Nothing I would consider long, at least so far. Even with this violent candle. Couple of strong bullish ones coming in, cool. But again, nothing I can really look at for long as we haven't flipped anything. You could argue that we failed the 15-minute low, but I need a flip to occur in there as well. This inversion for me isn't good enough. So up we go until proven otherwise, right? Getting a little bit of a accumulation. This could be manipulation as well. And if it's going to be manipulation, I think that you're probably looking at 39-ish, assuming that we actually close. If we close above here, then you're looking at 39s. Otherwise, this could be just manipulation and then continue on its way. Pretty strong failure. That's nasty price action. Man, oh man. Woo! Now what? We got our 5-minute closure. We're trading back into here. Cool. 15-minute failing. 4 hours still closed above here. This is your CSD spot on the 1. It's a very, very important area of interest. Trading all the way up to it quite violently as well, I might add. Nearly 10:30, we could be looking at a run of the highs. Just honestly not a lot that I liked out of today at all so far. Didn't like this long. Didn't like anything in here. This was actually a short. Creating this sideways price movement and then sweeping and failing, coming back in. Right? You would expect this to trade lower and then actually run this low out. No bueno. Chop, 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 chop. Do we have... Where's your ES chart? ES hasn't taken the highs yet either. One of them should. And if it's going to take it, it should take it now with this new 15-minute opening. Do they do it? Do they run it? Do they run it? Oh, none of them have yet? Or do they both do it in tandem? Lots of profit taking coming in. And again, like looking at this run, you wouldn't think that you have any real reason to be concerned at all. And I think you'd be right. I think you'd be right. I mean, like this very well could just blast even higher. You got your 15, you got your high over here, right? And then all of a sudden this looks just very, very strong. There goes ES, there goes NQ. Just nasty price action. Didn't let me get involved down here at all. Just straight down and then straight up. Very rare V bottom. Not really looking at this inversion again. The main reason is because it didn't displace through. You got your 5-minute low here, but there's no inversion there. This is just kind of displacement in the middle of nowhere. Now I figure out what's going to be the follow through. Yes, that's right. That's right. The problem is when you don't, like, well, in fairness, this was a CSD and then that traded back in, fair. But you have to understand where the CSD is trading down into. This CSD failed the 5-minute low. So now it's got to fail a 5-minute high. And we actually didn't, you'll notice we actually didn't close above this high either, which sent us down lower. Now that's a little bit tricky. And you're looking at this that flipped actually back up, facilitating that move. As soon as this flipped, that actually was a valid short, and this ended up trading just how many bear bars is that? 3, 6, 9, 10? Just nasty PA. And I think the 4-hour closing above here was my main concern. We actually just traded back down to the midpoint of it and then went on a rocket. Now we determine if this is actually going to have follow through or not. There was no SNDR created here, you'll notice. So either this is higher time frame manipulation, we get a trade down to here, or we're not done yet. Either way, not a ton of setups for me this morning. You could argue this area of interest that sent us down on the inverse, but I think we wait for something a little bit clearer. Right? 1030 running the highs. Do we take that 4-hour high and we're just in a higher time frame move? Valid after Friday, where you've got your 4-hour that dropped, achieving nothing. And you kind of see that here. Dropped. Right? No flip on the 4-hour, so we continue higher. Either way, not a lot telling you anything in terms of direction. Get rid of that ES chart now. Right, here's your 5, okay. There's your 15. Not exactly weak so far, with 8 minutes left. Yeah, I like the idea of the short and then in. My concern was the 4 hour. Like I would have rather all this sort of happened and we closed inside of this. Then we can look at this as manipulation. Otherwise, this is now a retracement. In terms of like execution, you got to flip, right? Yeah, we flip back up. You would expect this to be trading back into the area of interest now that we actually achieved something on the 5. Cool. And this was your second distribution, which then obviously failed. And here we are. They going again? Very well could get that high today, couldn't we? Not a lot of trades for me today. Still looking at 900s that I think we'll trade into right now. At least 894 based off the 5-minute time frame. This area will be a very key, important area of interest as well. Should trade back down to just below 70, I think, and then trade back up its merry way. So I would look for, like, this idea would be sort of like a trade in here, potentially even lower if it drops through this, and then that will go to 890 or so. Yeah, not exactly beautiful, is it? Right? Got everybody interested short and then blasted. They very well could be accumulating in here and then they're going to run everybody out and then drop. I think we've already traded back in to mitigate this area of interest, which, did we not call this when this closed here? Profit taking, but not done yet. My stop is 72.50, looking for at least 90, 94. New 15-minute candle going to open soon as well, so assuming our 15 closes above this high of like 76, then your new 15 should, at the very least, if it wants to come back in, should trade higher and then attempt to attack this low of 50s, which would be very, very surprising. $15 seconds, new 15-minute. Gonna lift my stop to that 77 candle right underneath here. Just looking for this to complete its movement up to 9,900. In fairness, this is probably a little bit quick for me to put my stop at 77. This is a little bit based off of personality, which will be interesting to see what ends up happening here. As this never even traded below here, which could be the target of 76. Or the lower time frame objective. That just took me out. Still think we got higher. Right? Despite this, would have you believe. But trailed my stop too tight and that was a mistake. Now I get to watch it move. Wow, you're a prick today, eh? Could be creating an SMDR. Disgraceful price action, whoever's in control of the algorithm. I'm considering that it's going to create an SNDR here when we look to the left to take this out. This is finally some consolidation within the intermediate time frame movement here. Right, so sweeping and failing underneath this would be valid. What I don't like is we didn't really dig deep into the initial area of interest, but I think it's at worst it would wick down into it. I think yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Right, interesting stuff. But still expecting 90s and then 900s when it's ready, that is. And when it's ready, we should know. Do we get it? This 5-minute low at 69.75. We'll probably take an aggressive long. Want to see a reaction here. Up we go. First stop is that area we just left at the low 70s. Right, we want to see it close above this, obviously 76.5, which I think is the initial target as well. Ooh, you're a prick today. Still long. Want to see it lift here now, otherwise this is in trouble. And if it is, then we probably go to the other end of this, which would be like in here in the 50s. But this would be the area of interest this low. Having a really hard time. Okay, I'm break even now. I think that was a valid attempt for it to sell off, at least to get underneath this low, which it failed to do. It's now got to break above this high at 73. Move. New 5 minute. We closed above the 5 minute low, which is good. So this actually could lift quite a bit more than the initial expectation of 76s. But again, she's got to break above these 73s here. I like how we're failing. I like how we're failing lower, I should say. But man, does she have to sweep something out lower? Why have we not gone yet? Here we go. I'm going to take some off here. Yeah, this is right. So the you get your movement, right? And then what you're looking for is the response. And then you're looking for confluence. My 5 minute area of interest is still up here. It hasn't been touched yet. The only thing that would overrule a 5 minute area of interest would be 15 minute failure or the like, or an hourly or whatever the case may be. Now we're not inside of an hourly area of interest. The 4 hours here. Here's your hourly chart. So nothing really. What we're doing is we're creating an intermediate time frame SNDR to run this high out. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean we just long anywhere. We long these areas that we're looking at price ideally spiking, trading sideways, accumulating, or getting out of their positions and then going. Right? So ideally, this sweeps and fails this 5, which it just did. Thought that was a valid attempt at doing something. But we're not going to get a 5-minute CSD unless we actually close underneath this low, which is your 15-minute low. So that's multiple stuff there. Now, this was having a really rough time, so I thought that this long was very valid, right? And I did take it off at 76 because I didn't like how lethargic it was. I wanted to scoop and then leave. Instead, we've got this nonsense. But then you see the fractal nature of price where we spike down. Cool, okay. We validated a high. We then create structural area. We trade back into it, and that leaves to that high, which makes sense from the fractal nature of price. And then what happens after that? We return back down to the initial area of interest, which happens to be at a 5-minute low. So valid confluence there. And now we're trading to the other end of this. Your 15-minute looks ominous. You got a new 15-minute candle now on an hourly candle. This looks the exact same as this did on the 15. Fractal nature of price. So my guess is we'll continue going sideways within this if we're going to run this 900 high today. You got a new 15-minute low coming in. We've just ran everybody out that was long in here finally. Now we want to see expansion if it's going to go. Still waiting, right? Ideally, I'd want to flip. That didn't flip here. So I think we run this low and then this one. And if we can fail the 15-minute low and generate a flip in the same time, then I think we run this high and we trade up to the 900s. That would be kind of how I would expect it to happen. No shorts for me, even if it does take this low. Man, oh 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 man. Watching, waiting. Wednesday and Thursday will be fun. Assuming we don't take all-time highs before then. One of those days will likely do that. Or we lead into the weekend doing that, which would be insane. Yuck. Maybe you're 3 minutes cleaner. Nope. Do we go to the 4? Hey, there we go. We got something. You heard it here first, lads. 4-minute time frame. Yeah, the concern, like, people that scalp, those of you guys that like to scalp, where you're looking at this like, okay, well, isn't that a valid short? And I think it would be if this wasn't a 15-minute low. You want this to be forming inside of a 15-minute candle. Otherwise, you're shorting into a 15-minute low. Looking for this one and omitting this one. That doesn't make any sense. Whether it works or not, it's irrelevant. Yeah, I think that's the first time I've ever looked at the 4-minute time frame. Anyway, you slice it. Violent movement through. This is kind of the midpoint of our area of interest. So as long as this continues respecting, then this low is on deck. I think if we break above here, then you're in trouble from a bearish perspective. But people will look at this like, isn't that a final sweep and failure? Yeah, I suppose you could look at that, but the reality of it is that the market actually doesn't care about that. Right? That leads us back up into the midpoint, which is about here, and then we have to make a decision. You could argue that sweeping it underneath here, we should at least take this high and then determine if we fail at that high, then we take this low. And I think that's a valid way of looking at it. But we don't want to have to get like too calculated, right? We know what our setup is, 15-minute sweep and fail and a flip. All right, do we technically have that? Technically we do, right? Bearish candle that took liquidity. Trading above. The concern is that your validation candle is actually here, which we're still failing above so far. Not exactly the cleanest. I'm personally waiting to see if there's a little bit more to the downside before we rip. And if we close above here at like what is that, 69s? Then we can look at potentially, trading back into this to mitigate and going. Holding this way longer than I should have. Yep. My guess is our 5-minute opens, takes liquidity if it's going to, and then we go. Assuming we continue with this SNDR. And that's if we're going to run up here today or leave it for later on. Right? And the reason, again, we can get caught up in so much that's going on in here, but this traded back into our 4-hour and then lifted. And we see how violently it lifted. If we're going to accumulate, manipulate, and then go, we would want to see something on an intermediate time frame close in here. Maybe we get our trade back in and then we attack this area again. And again, I don't really like this at all. There was no accumulation here. They didn't get out of their position. So you could argue this is a squeeze. Right? With this being the intermediate manipulation higher. But that closed up here. So right back to our area of interest. Assuming we close up here, then if we get a trade back down, I would look for long for sure. And that very well could like trade to like 69 or like 68 or something like that. But this could just be gone too. Yeah, your new 5-minute candle instead just went on a rocket ship. Again, we very well respected the 5-minute area of SNDR. Right, we traded back down into it, swept and failed, lifting. We'll see how much juice this has got from our lower time frame. Right, we probably trade back down into here, would be my guess, and then we lift. Or it just fails here and we're on a higher time frame movement, which is okay too. That's okay too. You're going to find out really, really quick how much strength is in this move. You got to do 15-minute candle opening shortly. Right, so sideways, sweeping underneath. This was our area of interest initially. I'm still waiting. I think this low gets swept at 70.75, which trades into our sort of area of interest here. New 15-minute candle dropping. Now taking that flat bottom, really. We figure out what exactly is going to go on here. This very well could be trading back in to leave, but I was kind of watching to see what the reaction is in this area of interest in the mid-60s. Little bit too violent. Still within parameters, but quite a violent sell-off. So we'll see what goes on here. I don't like that at all. Probably trades back into this, and then I think we attack this low. This PA is awful, I know. Just accumulate, blast, and then dump. Like blast and then dump. There goes that low. Expecting this range to continue. So aggressive longs would target back up to here if it's going to run. A lot of time on this 15, but not exactly getting anything beautiful from it so far. Right, we could actually be looking at the mid 40s, or low 40s rather, sorry. Like 41. That's if it wants to stop at all. This is wild. Having a really hard time either way. We could trade back up. I think if we did, this would be a failure though. So I would expect it to continue a little bit lower. Just having no real signs of any sort of relief so far. Heavy selling in the high 40s. I think a lot of people are buying down here though. Do we lift? Or do we die? Come on, come on, come on. Lift a little bit. At least to this high. 55 should be on deck. My goodness. Let's go. There goes 55 finally. This is just not just not moving. It's sort of chopping around without, like, you could argue this is accumulation, manipulation, whatever, but I actually liked a little bit lower in the low 40s. I don't think this actually hit my extension. No, my extension was 43. My extension was 43. All right, so the midpoint of the first one's actually 54. I did think it would take this high, 55.50, but it didn't. Right, so respecting this area of interest should trade lower, but I'm not involved in any of this. I might actually walk away for the day. I'm taking a lot of trades here, and she's having a really rough time going anywhere. Right, I like the 15-minute low. I want a flip, but our flip is all the way up here. So we could get something very similar to this, in which case they can go away. People will look at, I think this is valid, you know, they're looking at the midpoint here, which we just traded into. Cool. I'm just not wild about how any of this is delivering, so. Yeah. Yeah. And this is now going to lift. Ugh. Just don't like it. Just don't like it. Don't like it, but it very well could trade back into the 54s and then go back up to here, which would be mid-60s. The concern with shorting or only taking it there is that your 15 minutes actually failing. This is your last structural 15-minute candle. Swept above it. We're now sweeping underneath it. Just don't like that we didn't really get a flip entry or anything in there for me. No inversion either. So not a lot of quality setups for me today, if I'm honest. Hasn't stopped me from trying to take a lot of scalps, but we'll see where this goes now. Yeah, gonna run away for the morning, lads. Now that we're kind of gearing up for lunch, I think noon curve, you're looking for either accumulation and then something running out lunch lows to then run this high. And that will be your noon curve idea. We very well could be trading back down into this 4-hour area of interest. 1, 2. This will be your third attempt to reverse this bearish trend that started at about 10:43-ish. So this will stop eventually, this channel. And I think it stops when we have like a decent accumulation that actually manipulates and breaks something. Until then, caution. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to run away for the morning. And we'll see you guys in a little while. Bye.